Welcome, friends. So, before words, without words, what is there? No particular world, no particular objects. There's already existence, already existing, a knowing already. And now drop all those postures. We have postures for being on guard, or postures for planning, or postures for being safe, or being right, or being good, or being clever, with no inner postures. What are we? This opens up the sensing, the knowing, the experiencing of this infinite. It's a loveliness. There's no critic coming in, no assessor coming in. It's an aliveness, and there's a sense of natural harmony, a sense of ease of existence. There's a sense of beauty, love, wholeness. And if those things aren't, we might just feel infinite emptiness. If the rest isn't coming in, just check and see if there's possible postures still there. There's still a certain amount of guardedness, or a certain amount of I am this. There something in there that puts a structure on that sensing. Something that puts a container. And as those things gradually get dissolved and released by any number of the practices discussed in this channel, then this sensing, this what we are, this experiencing and knowing just opens and expands, and it's a natural appreciating, a natural savoring. There's not evaluating or requirements. So tune in, just feel that there's no danger. There is no wrong. There's no pushing away. There's an ease of flow. The authentic movement moves here, and as that authentic movement moves, there could be yeses and nos, not in a rejection sort of thing, just as in a current that flows. And when we're opening in this way, there's nothing to protect. There's a loveliness. There's a simplicity of experiencing. So as we sit and hear sounds, there's not a hierarchy, there's interesting sounds. As we sit and gaze at colors, there's no particular preferences, there's an interesting dance of colors. As we interact, there's a sense that it's all this. There's no other. There's no threat. There's no hierarchy. And there is preciousness. And the opening is a love affair. So knowing, falling in love with getting to know, a sensing, falling in love with getting to sense, and experiencing, falling in love with getting to experience. And the world of thoughts, the world of concepts, the world of words, it's just, it's a tool used as needed. But it doesn't have that full sparkle, it doesn't have that full aliveness, it doesn't have that fulfillment. So we just find ourselves pulled more and more by this heart that is calling into the real. And we can just relax into that call. Let that call pull us. Because that call, there's nothing else like it. That call to be the being. That call to flow as the current. That call to let go of our preferences and our supposed needs and our supposed structures of how things should be and our supposed plans. The call is to something so much more gratifying. It doesn't have to be a discipline, it's more just a noticing that this infinite, this timeless, this absolute, it's actually more authentic. It's not rigged. Not rigged with all our concepts and rules. And if the concepts and rules show up as we're interacting with people, there's just a noticing of where they feel tight, where they feel unnecessary, and a relaxation. Because we know ourselves as the real that doesn't rely on the words, doesn't rely on the names. We just know before there's a personhood to do the knowing, before there's a personhood to do evaluating. And the harmony that just seems to arise, it's so natural. This harmony doesn't divide. It doesn't divide even away from the parent division. senses the time for all, right? There's spring and there is autumn. There is summer and there is winter. There's allowing for that flow of the seasons. So as things come up that seem, our conceptual mind might say, oh, this is out of place. This infinite scene can feel there's nothing out of place. There's a rhythm. There's an arising and there is a subsiding. And all that arises subsides. And so the seeing and the experiencing has the wholeness and aliveness, a potency unmatched by anything in words. Very simple. So much ease. When we feel an internal conflict, there's space for that. And with just some careful noticing, we may even notice exactly what is the conflict. A simple I thought that arose. I needed blank. That's about all the conflicts ever are. I needed peace. I needed honesty. I needed reciprocation. I needed respect. Oh, but all of that is based upon an I. And when the words are gone, there's an allowing and there's a recognition that that I is built only on words. The I that could need any of those things is simply a concept. And can a concept really need respect? Can a concept really need safety? Can a concept really need reciprocation? Can a concept really need peace? The experiencing, the alive immensity, the infinite is open availability that finds nothing out of place. There's no gap. As we look, there's no gap. There's a complete palette of colors as we gaze. The same thing as we listen. There's no gap. It's naturally full, naturally missing nothing. And with all those internal structures of trying to be anything, there's just the openness to beauty, the openness to harmony, the openness to love, the openness to cherishing. Without concepts, existence is beautiful. Just allow that to percolate throughout the day.